Good morning, YouTube. We're quitting. Yeah, it's Friday and the weekend, so we're going to take Saturday, Sunday off and be back on Monday. But about the smartest thing you can do is make a YouTube video saying that you're quitting.
Yes.
And then get all the people to come see why this latest YouTuber is quitting.
It is a big thing, and it's a big shocking title.
It is a very shocking clickbait thumbnail
Right.
and title, and it was used for real with a few big high-profile YouTubers in January, and then the bandwagon effect hopped on, so most people not actually quitting. But
Right.
I did want to sort of talk about, because I have been doing this for 8 years now, what I think of a lot of YouTubers quitting, and some of these folks are closer to me, so I know a lot more firsthand, and why I agree in some ways and why I disagree. So first, I thought we would do a little, HR meeting between us, coworkers.
Us girls, yes.
So how do you feel about your work environment here so far at Good Morning YouTube in the last 4 months or so?
There are a lot of sexual advances, but I enjoy them all.
Okay. But overall, YouTubing compared to the many things
Right.
in media that you have done, you have done radio,
Right.
and you still do radio
Yeah, I
pretty
still
much
do
full time. Tons of television,
Right.
movies, you name it.
Yeah,
you've been hired by companies to make social media.
Right.
So how does this feel?
This is a night and day, like easy peasy. I don't want to say cakewalk because that's not really nice to say, but it just feels so easy. Like when we are doing Barrett Jackson, that's 40 hours of live television, and we have our first production meeting at 8 o'clock, in the morning, which I normally don't go to because I have to do my hair and makeup, and it takes me about 2 hours extra to do that. So
For television, it takes longer to do makeup. It's not like she does that every day.
No,
But.
and it just takes a long time to get ready, shower, and do all the whole thing. But you're starting at 8 in the morning, so you're up at 6, 5, working throughout the whole day. We're not off air until, 9 o'clock at night sometimes. Then you kind of have your meetings afterwards of how did it go, what do we do better tomorrow, and then it's repeat again the next day, repeat again the next day.
And then like a TV show,
Right.
they'll have 14, 16-hour days, right?
Oh yeah, any TV show you shoot or movie, you're just there. And it was interesting because when I shot Grown Ups 2 as the Russian dance teacher in Grown Ups 2, and Steve Austin was my boyfriend, and I remember, and in the movie, not in real life. And I remember him telling me, purposely he has in his contracts that they need to allow him a certain amount of sleep before calling him back to set. So they can't cut him at 2 in the morning and then ask him to come back at 6 a.m. There has to be, I don't remember what he said, but I would assume at least 10 hours, a 10-hour turnaround in his contract. Because if it's not there, they'll make you go back to work at 6 a.m. even when they cut you at 2 a.m. because that is how grueling it is when you're shooting in these huge sets.
Right. Well, the most glorious thing for me at YouTube compared to like the 3 seasons of my Motor Trend Joe or doing Barrett Jackson or whatever, the mess ups, the ability to do a jump cut for that if I wanted to get that out. We have
Right.
2 camera angles, we can do it really quick. But on TV, they do not want that. So you have to get it in one take. If it's 2 minutes of talking, you mess it up. If the camera's just slightly out of focus, oh, I'm sorry, you moved a little bit and I didn't get it quite there. I have to
Right.
redo the whole thing again. And you nailed it. And it's just like, oh my God, I just nailed it. And I have to start over and do it all over again.
Yeah.
It's the worst
But there's
thing.
the little things, the camera guy could be just slightly out of focus. He could have taken a step that maybe he wobbled his foot a little, or she wobbled her foot a little bit, so then the camera shot's a little sketchy. Or the lighting guy could have not hit you at the correct moment when he was supposed to, and then you have to retake it over and over and over again, and it can be overwhelming.
So the point that I wanted you to help me make is YouTubing is much easier in many ways, in most ways, than traditional media before this. And a lot of these social media stars have really never worked a real job before they became famous on YouTube, so they burn out and quit because they just don't know what the real world is like.
Sure.
All the things that I've done, like flipping burgers, opening Freddy's restaurants, and those long days of doing that,
Right.
the car dealerships and the daily grind with that, I know what real work is, and I'm not saying that YouTube isn't real work, but a lot of these people burn out because they just don't know how good
Right,
they have it. But
right.
at the same time, YouTubing is very hard.
Right.
Being like the only person, and you are the only source of coming up with creative ideas to make content, to be able to film it, to be able to edit it yourself, because financially it makes no sense. It's not like TV where they're giving you a budget of $1 million and then you
Right.
make the show and you have all these people helping you and it's a creative collaborative process and then you put it out. You're starting out and you're doing it for nothing, forever,
Right.
on hopes of people watching ads and engaging in the videos and then getting paid back. And then as you grow, you could bring people on, like we have Jake here sitting in for Good Morning YouTube, because I knew a whole second YouTube channel, 5 videos a week. Now I couldn't handle that workload,
Right.
but then creatively it's hard. The more cooks in the kitchen, the more people you add, it just gets more challenging and harder in a lot of ways to just manage that. Not that Jake's any difficulty,
Right.
but
Right.
it's hard no matter what.
Plus, I feel like it's hard to get content out that's worthy of people actually wanting to see. And so you have to think of something really interesting to talk about,
Yes.
which we sometimes do once in a while, maybe once a month we get it right. But it can be tricky, and you really have to be a self-starter, and you have to really want to do it yourself. I hear so many people come up to Tyler all the time and say, I want to start a YouTube channel, but, and then that's all I need to hear when anyone ever says, but. Those excuses, you can't have a but. You can't have any excuses, but I don't have time for this, or I don't know this, and you can figure it out. There's YouTube videos on how to be a YouTuber. You can figure it out.
Right. But with TV shows, with traditional media, a show sort of runs its course. Say with Star Trek, they do 7 seasons of Star Trek, or at least in the past, with Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. And by the end of it, these people know they've been working 14, 16, 18 hours a day if they're sitting in big makeup. They know in 7 years, they're done.
Right.
And they've made all this money, and they'll make all this money in syndication, but in the 7-year span, they're going to work and have no life outside of it.
Right.
And I think with YouTubers, there's no off button. There's no like, okay, this is going to end at a certain time.
Right.
Like the show's over
Right.
with this. So I think a lot of them, after 7, 10 years, all these OGs have been doing it for a long time. They've made their pile of money.
Right.
They've done everything they want to do. They're seeing the comments saying that things are getting repetitive.
Right.
And things are, getting stale. Everybody's copied them, so they're diluted in that as well. Like with me, I started YouTube saying I'm buying the cheapest such and such in the country. So I'd buy the cheapest Bentley Continental GT
Right.
and it'd get millions of views.
Right.
But now the bar is raised and there's so many people doing that.
Right.
Like a 20-year-old buying a Lamborghini on YouTube, no matter what, will get millions of views.
Right.
Now it doesn't. So they're dealing with this, like, I have to work harder for less.
Right.
And I could just switch and do a podcast or get sponsored on Snapchat and get paid to just post snaps every day or Twitch stream and play video games, and I can make all this money and not have to create content anymore. I can just sit and do a podcast to do and basically retire and quit. And I understand that where something sort of needs to run its course.
Right. No, that makes sense. And, like, I don't want to say compare your show to Seinfeld, but I remember he pulled himself on air even when it was really hot because he didn't want it to die on a bad note. And so is that something that YouTubers are going to be looking at doing? Say, I want to go off, my way, and I want to go off being a hero, not I want to go off because my audience fell off and died and kind of drifted off into no man's land.
I don't think I could quit.
No?
Honestly, and I think that's a common thing among car YouTubers and probably among other people that are so obsessed with their genre,
Right.
whatever it is, where we hang out, we go to dinner with our car friends,
Right.
and there is no turning off talking about cars.
So funny.
It just doesn't stop. Euro Asian Bob is an example of like,
so cute.
we can change the subject.
He could not talk about anything if cars wasn't part of the conversation.
Oh, no, I mean, we
I
can
don't
get
mean
him
it that way.
We can
but-
get him off subject to talk about something else. But if we just wanted to talk about cars for the entire 2-hour dinner, he would do it. And like, there's a lot of my friends
Yeah.
where it would be the same way. And
Yeah.
we're just so obsessed and so fixated
Yeah.
that even before YouTube, I was buying junk and doing the stupid things.
Right.
And if it was terrible and I lost thousands of dollars, I just lost thousands of dollars. I didn't
Right.
make YouTube videos about it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's something that I would be continuing to do anyway. So I just don't see myself actually quitting.
Right. Ever.
Like just going, I can't do this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
But I think that's the case with a lot of these people, especially in January. And that's the big trick where we saw all these YouTubers quitting in January. I bet you go back and look, they're still posting videos. But January, it has the lowest ad rates.
Oh, because it's after the holidays?
Right.
Okay.
So the big holiday push,
Right.
where the ad rates are 3 times higher than what they were. And then January, all the companies are going to figure out their budgets in the first month, what they're going to spend on Google or whatever for that first couple of weeks. And that 2-week period of January, there's no point in posting a video because it's pennies.
Really?
It's really off from December. So you work as hard as you can in December, you burn yourself out, and then in January you take a couple weeks off. But if you post a video saying, I can't do this anymore, I'm quitting, I can't take it, I just can't, then
Right.
you get all this attention,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my God, is he actually gone?
Right.
And then you come back in 2 weeks, all right, I'm refreshed, guys, I'm good, everything's
Yeah.
fine. Same thing if your content's getting a little stale. And I know our friend Tavarish, he did, I think, I can't do this anymore video. And
So when did you know he was going to post that?
No.
And when it came out, were you shocked and actually thinking that he's not going to be doing it?
No, because he'd already bought the McLaren P1.
Okay.
But he was very stressed out about all of it and the way that he was doing things. And he was posting a lot more videos. So not to make a big example about Freddie, but before his I can't do this anymore, or maybe a year or so before that, Freddie was posting a lot of videos, maybe once or twice a week, sort of like I do.
Right.
And it is a grind to do that, and you don't get the views as someone who, say, posts once or twice a month, and it's a big event.
Right.
So he's already planning this pivot, and he was already spending more on a project car than probably anybody else on a base project car, especially one that's been on the flood with a McLaren P1.
It's awesome.
Crazy.
It's awesome.
But he knew that he needed to change, not just for his mental health, but because of the way YouTube's changing and the diminishing returns of, hey, I bought a cheap car, or hey, like I'm going to do this little thing on my house. Like, people just aren't expecting that anymore. The bar keeps getting raised and raised and raised. And Freddie, when he posts a video, it's an event.
Right. And it should be. He's an amazing guy, and he has amazing ideas, and I love what he did with the P1.
And to an extent, that sort of happened on my channel because I used to post twice a week no matter what. Doug and I would post opposite days. So he would post Tuesday, Thursday. I would post Wednesday, Friday because we were working together on Auto Trader. I kept on that routine for a very long time.
Right.
But then I sort of realized, like, I need to post when it's a good amount of content, where it's good quality. Because I used to break it all up where I bought the car, and then here's everything wrong with the Wizard. And then, you know, going through the stages of like fixing it, and then stuff I like and don't like
Right.
about it, and the buy and sell. I have to sort of combine those videos up because YouTube's watch time, they like it to be longer now. Longer form content pays more, and it gets more engagement, and more people see it. So I have to do that now. So now I always still post once a week,
Right.
but sometimes I don't post twice,
Right.
because of that. So I have changed somewhat, and I do see the frustrations, and I do know how hard it is to work on YouTube, but quitting? To do something else?
Yeah, it's still a
you
lot
crazy?
easier than traditional broadcasting TV, music, anything else. I feel like in this industry, this media industry, this is the most fun, I feel like, because it's so much freer too. You really can
Yes.
say almost whatever you want. There's certain things obviously you don't want to talk about, but it's a lot freer and it's more real, which is why I think YouTube has taken off.
Well, I'm glad that you are satisfied with your YouTubing career. I'm very satisfied with you as a co-host, so I guess I'll give you a raise. A big raise.
Stop
That's
it.
so creepy. Thank you so much for watching.